Ego. Ego got in my way.
If you've been watching Devon Larratt across the years on highlights or any other videos, if you've been looking into him, you know he likes to make his victory as big as possible. He likes to hold people. He likes to showboat. He likes to talk trash. But at the end of the match, there's always respect to his opponents. But he likes to make his victory as big as possible, which potentially could have been one of the downfalls in his loss to Gennady Kvikvinya. If you watched the first match, you know that Devon was in a hook in a dominant position, looking like he was going to completely bleed out Gennady, and he ended up losing that match on fouls. There was controversial reffing decision there, but Devon was there in the hook. Instead of finishing it, he was worried about talking to Gennady. He said, "Gennady, you're my dog," if you remember that. There was some other words of trash talk he was saying, but when does the ego and the trash talking go too far if it becomes a distraction from you actually winning the match? Well, Devon just reflected on this match the morning after. Let's hear what he said here.
Ego is a terrible thing. Almost as terrible as getting older. I need to realize that as much fun as it is to try and make your victory as big as possible, in competition, the ultimate thing is victory. And ego got in my way.
Ego got in his way, as he says himself. Now, the way I interpret this is that he was putting a little bit too much mental energy, especially after that first match, holding Gennady, but ended up losing on fouls. He wasn't taking the match as serious as he could have potentially by just focusing on pinning instead of talking trash when you're in the match, because Gennady was a serious threat, as we saw, and Gennady did not lose endurance quickly. Some people are saying Gennady has potentially more endurance than Devon, because Devon was the one who was winning the earlier rounds, and then he seemed to be gassing out later in the match, where Gennady, if you saw that first round, you would have thought Gennady was done after being in that hook position, and Devon holding him in that hook and saying, Gennady, you're my dog. But it turns out Gennady had enough strength in the later rounds and was able to win. So I think potentially Devon's downfall in that match was him, you could say, not taking it as seriously. But those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think on that.
Much respect to Gennady. I would like a rematch. I haven't watched the match yet. I have not watched it.
I would love to watch a rematch as well. I think that would be fantastic. Rematch between these two.
Checked all my messages. I'll go through everything. There's a lot. I already know there's many things that I can address. I think that Gennady and I have very similar qualities.
Endurance. They both have great endurance. Gennady just has endurance, but he also has that power too. Serious power from lifting weights, compound exercises, bicep power. It's undeniable. Plus the endurance.
So that we can potentially run this back many times.
Many times.
Continue to have close matches, I believe. I think.
Yeah, that's the thing. When you get two guys with really good endurance, oftentimes it becomes a really good match because it gets to a stopping point, and then there's so many different transitions and tactical moves and stuff like that because it's a close match and it's an endurance match. Both of these guys have exceptional endurance.
Very close in our capabilities, and I'm very curious to continue to fight with him further. Perhaps he will just defeat me again. Perhaps he will. However, without even seeing the match, with just going off my memory of how I feel that a rematch would be good. And just to be clear, when he defeated me, my first feeling was one of happiness for him. Thank you, Engman Terzi.
Notice how Devon is very graceful in losing and not blaming the reffing or anything like that, saying, Gennady defeated me. I was happy for him. He definitely felt like Gennady earned that match, earned that win, clearly.
For continuing to selflessly promote arm wrestling in this world at the highest level. Thank you, Gennady Fikvinia, for being an incredible competitor. I look forward to seeing you again. And overall, very quick impression of East versus West 7. The Georgian team is on a completely different level. All of them. If you're from Georgia,
it's crazy.
Strength.
This is a country with a population of like less than 5 million, I believe, somewhere around there, and they are dominating the arm wrestling scene. It's very impressive stuff.
In arm wrestling, in weightlifting, in judo, in sumo, you guys got it figured out. Much respect. And Kurtigali Angarbayev, probably the best technician I've ever seen in arm wrestling. Incredible. Anyways, good times.
So what do you think? Do you think ego got in Devon's way there? Do you think that he was taking Gennady a little bit too lightly after the first couple rounds, and then it got serious? You could see that look on Devon's face at one point where things got serious. I'll put up the image right here. And that was when Devon realized, oh, shit, I'm probably going to lose this match at this point. What do you guys think about this match and ego in general when it comes to competition?